Lesson 1, founding 13 colonies. Let's start off with a little bit of history. Of course, in 1492, we all know Christopher Columbus founded the colonies, and we would be here because of him. We also have, by the 1730s, the Atlantic coast was settled by the Europeans. The English pretty much had control of that whole area. There were other major regional differences, of course. We have geographical, religious, and social differences, where there's a big contributors factors of how people live and how they did things. Of course, the three major regional areas are named. Of course, the first one is New England, which is the Boston area, the middle colonies, and the southern colonies. These are three names of the three different regional areas. Let's start off with New England. There's a big Protestant area, which is the Pilgrims and Puritans. They worshiped God in their own way. Of course, they had a colder, less fertile geographic area. Most of the colonists lived in villages and towns. They did do some small farming, but basically it was to suffice or just to go ahead and help them live. And it wasn't a large amount of farming. It wasn't for like selling or trading. It was just to eat and survive. Most of the men worked as sailors, shipbuilders, and fishermen. To this day, most of these professions still exist. And yes, I said the men because in those days it wasn't men and women going out to work. It was just the men. The middle colonies. You have the Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. Very fertile soil. It wasn't cleared. There was a lot of forest. Once it was cleared out, it was very, very fertile. The farming was a major occupation. Of course, they raised wheat, oats, corn, and other grains. The middle colonies are considered the breadbasket of the colonies. Religious-wise, it's very diverse. Of course, in Pennsylvania, you have the Quakers, which is a very religious group of people. Honestly, not all the other religions aren't. They have, in my opinion, they have an extreme as far as the way they do things, but that's just the way they are. And in New York, you have the Jews, Anglicans, and Dutch Reformation. Of course, the middle colonies, that's what they were called, or exemplified what they call religious toleration, because you had all these different religions living in the same area. And they got along. Southern colonies, of course, the oldest colony is Jamestown, Virginia, as far as the oldest English colony back in 1607. The other colonies or states in the area, of course, you have both Carolinas, North and South, Maryland, Georgia, the Atlantic coastal plain were all part of the southern colonies. Of course, we all know because we live in South Texas, there's great weather for farming and cultivating. This is where they came with the famous concept of cash crops, which is tobacco, rice, and indigo, where they sold that back to Europe and amongst themselves for a lot of money. So you have those big old plantations growing all these crops to make a huge amount in profit and money. Some democratic traditions we're going to have to go look at or remind ourselves of, because we're going to get later on when we go over, of course, independence, constitutions. We'll go over first of all with the Magna Carta of 1215. This the English king promised not to take away any man's freedoms, free man's property, or imprison any free man without following procedures established by the law of the land. Of course, we also have the English Bill of Rights of 1689, a signed and confirmed document where England's new rulers agreed to the individual rights of men. An example of that today, or even back then, is the first Bill of Rights, was first 10 amendments added to the Constitution, where we have our individual rights as human beings and as citizens. And then, of course, the Mayflower Compact of 1620. The Pilgrim colonists agreed that they would form a representative government and obey its laws. This is the contract they signed before getting off the boat, off the Mayflower. It's called the Mayflower Compact. And because they knew they needed some sort of government to help them run things and to survive. This should be okay. You all should be able to use this information to pass your quiz.
Created using Powtoon.